racial attacks, after 4 years of attacks on cities, after 4 years of attempting to divide people, why wouldn't President Trump end his presidency on one last failed attempt to divide us? Is it disappointing? Of course it's disappointing. Is it surprising? Not in the least. I actually probably expected that he would go after cities, that he would go after communities that have voted for his opponent, because that's the way he's lived his whole life and that's the way he's lived his whole career. But we in Milwaukee are ready and will be ready for this. My understanding is that tomorrow the ballots will go to the county. We will be working with them to lease them our vote tabulators, and those will be shipped over to them tomorrow to the Wisconsin Center, where on the third floor, we will have hundreds of people who will be involved in the recount. I also want to say that it's not surprising at all that Donald Trump, the Trump campaign, wants to have one last mass gathering that is going to put people's health in peril, because we'll probably have 120 tables, each staffed by two individuals. There will be room for 3 observers. So right there, you've got 120 tables times 600 people. You add in the media, you add in the lawyers. There probably conservatively will be between 800 and 1,000 people in this indoor facility tomorrow, which is exactly the type of events we try to avoid during this pandemic, exactly the type of super spreader events that Donald Trump loves to have. Fortunately, the area that the county, and I give a lot of credit to the county, to George Christensen, to the county executive, to Julietta Henry for securing this location, because it is an expansive location on the third floor of the Wisconsin Center. And as a result, there should be adequate room for social distancing. But we're still asking people to come out and to spend hours working during the midst of a pandemic, when we are coming off the day when we saw the highest number of deaths in the state of Wisconsin during this pandemic. So again, Donald Trump and his campaign throw caution to the wind, ask people to come together, basically because of his vanity, to try to one more time disrupt this. We saw what happened in Michigan yesterday, where we saw two election commissioners in Detroit initially try to prevent the certification of the vote in Detroit. In fact, one of those individuals said, well, we could certify the suburbs, but let's not certify the city. That was in essence what I understand she said. So that failed 2-2 after an enormous outcry of injustice from the governor and others. They regrouped last night to certify those votes. It is my sincere hope that we do not have the same type of shenanigans here in Milwaukee County. Fortunately, again, we've got a Milwaukee County Board of Election Commissioners who will oversee this. This is in the jurisdiction of the county. The city will be working with them. We will be working. In fact, I spoke to the executive director of our election commission this morning. She and her staff are working to get individuals who will help with the approximately 140 individuals that we're looking, approximately 70 individuals we're looking to provide to them. So all of that work is happening in real time right now. My understanding is that the money has been deposited with the Wisconsin Election Commission. The costs of this are reimbursable, so both the county and the city will have to pay theirs upfront to be reimbursed by the State Elections Commission. So that's something we'll be working on as well. But again, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. I know one of the lines of attack, of course, is individuals who have had their ballots cured per directive from the Wisconsin Election Commission, who puts forth the directives as to how witnesses and signature issues should be cured. We have followed that to the letter, but it's interesting, but not surprising, that Donald Trump wants to challenge those witnesses in counties that vote Democratic, but doesn't want to go after those witnesses in counties that vote Republican. No surprise. So with that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett responding to the request by the Trump campaign to seek a recount of the ballots in both Milwaukee and Dane counties. You heard the mayor there at the end reference the fact that the money to pay for those recounts, somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million, has been wired to the Wisconsin Election Commission, with the commission having acknowledged receiving that, and this recount in Dane and Milwaukee counties will move forward. I want to bring our Charles Benson back in one more time. Charles, the mayor essentially saying nothing to see here. This is partisanship, and when this is all said and done, there won't be anything that turns up out of Milwaukee County.
Yeah, the mayor expressing his disappointment but not surprise that President Trump and his campaign is going to challenge the count in Milwaukee County and Dane County. That $3 million figure, by the way, includes $2 million for just Milwaukee County. But he used one word, Vince, that we're all going to have to try to understand here, the word cured. And that is a method by which, if the ballot envelope did not have all the necessary information on it, the clerk could cure it and provide the correct information. And that was based on guidance that the counties, all 72 counties, received from the State Elections Commission. So that gets to the heart of the issue of what President Trump is trying to challenge here. I go back to, yes, it's a recount, but it's not really trying to see if the numbers all add up. So that is a key point here. The other key takeaway here, Vince, for me, is that the mayor talking about potentially 800 to 1,000 people inside the Wisconsin Center that will be spread out throughout this facility. Keep in mind, this is the same facility that held the Democratic National Convention, where there, I believe, were fewer than 100 people, even less than that, because of concerns with COVID. All of this happening in this COVID period where we're seeing cases rise. So safety and keeping people socially distanced inside this facility will be a challenge. Vince?
Charles, is it your understanding also that from a journalistic perspective, because everyone is suspicious on both sides of what is happening inside these rooms, that our cameras will have access to this counting process, just as we are supposed to be given access to the process on election night?
Yeah, so this is supposed to be as transparent as possible. What is going to be interesting, remember when we saw the counting of the ballots on Election Day and into the morning, the city of Milwaukee had a live feed. They had these cameras that you could look into the room. I'm guessing with the short notice here that we won't be able to see this happening in real time. But I think I heard the mayor say over 100 different tables that will be set up where where all these ballots will be looked at, but spread out in all throughout the Wisconsin Center and on 100 different tables.
All right, our Charles Benson discussing this latest development, the Trump campaign having now officially sought a recount in Milwaukee and Dane counties of the 2020 presidential election.